Hello and welcome to this very, very special episode of Movie Night. I'm here joined today by Albert.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about, it's a film that's very, very close to my heart. It's The Room.
Cinematic masterpiece.
Cinematic. Written, directed, produced, starring Mr. Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau.
You know, when there's multiple roles filled by one person, not all the time, but generally in films, that's a good sign.
If you watch the credits at the end of the film, a lot of them are like. So the other guy, Greg Sestero,
yeah,
he does a lot of the things as well. There aren't actually that many people in the entire crew.
But it's weird because there's I don't want to get ahead of myself, but they introduce so many characters out of the blue that it's really weird. It's just like people just come out of nowhere. Yeah. But anyway, why don't you give us a little bit of a history lesson, Albert? What was the conceptual process?
Well, so this guy Tommy Wiseau, he basically came up with this idea for the film The Room, and then managed to find some people to do it. I believe the cast he actually tried to do. Originally said some of them. So like the woman who plays Lisa wasn't his first choice. She was actually the understudy for whatever it was for this person. He was friends with Greg Sestero before.
Yeah.
They knew each other and helped make the film
best
together.
Friend.
He's his best friend. Yes.
Fun fact: nobody knows where Tommy Wiseau is from.
Yes.
He refuses to disclose that information.
Nobody actually knows his real age as well.
Oh my god, it's mind-boggling.
He's very secretive about his early life. It's possible he's from Poland.
Probably.
It's also possible that he's just from America. It's very.
But he's got an accent, definitely, or
He
maybe
does,
he's putting it on. I have no idea.
He's one of a kind.
It does definitely seem like the script was written by someone whose English is not their first language.
Well, like a lot of the things he says, because he kept messing it up. They redubbed the lines over afterwards. Hence why often it looks a bit odd when you see his mouth.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of dubbing.
They redubbed it. Like the scene as well. There's a scene where he discusses something on the roof, and then Mark mentions something about this woman he knew who got domestically abused, and then he starts laughing. And apparently they redid the scene several times, and they said you can't laugh at that.
Yeah.
Even the crew behind it, but he kept laughing, so they just had to leave it after.
I can't believe
it's
that.
such an odd.
Okay, so we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Why don't we?
Sorry, yes, I just.
I'm going to use this word very loosely, but why don't you give us an idea of the plot of this movie?
The plot behind The Room is possibly one of the most brilliant, but also confusing creations there's ever been.
I hesitate to call it a story. It has the elements.
It's a group of characters
that do things.
Often for no particular reason.
I suppose the very basic idea you can say is that good old Tommy is getting married, but he's
called Johnny in the
Johnny.
So
sorry,
Johnny, our protagonist of the film.
I kept thinking he was called Tommy.
Yeah, well,
I may be mistaken, but they might have called him Tommy.
Johnny, yeah.
But anyway, his fiancée doesn't love him anymore, so she basically becomes a sociopath and sleeps with his best friend. Yeah. And does all this weird stuff, and then eventually he finds out.
At the beginning, they seem perfectly happily together. And
very happily together.
Very happily together, and then all of a sudden she decides that she no longer loves him.
Yeah.
And she talks to her mother. Her mother is quite a key player in this film.
She's quite a character.
Yes. Johnny also has an adopted son called Denny.
Yeah, Denny. Hi, Denny.
Oh, hi, Denny. Who lives in an apartment that he pays for.
Yeah.
But he also has some weird sexual attraction to Lisa.
Oh yeah, Denny. Yeah.
Because they're like, we need to go upstairs for some private time, and he's like,
yeah, he comes up and joins them.
Yeah, he's like, I can join you guys.
But luckily before
anything else happens.
So that brings us nicely onto the somewhat basically pornographic scenes in this movie. There are several very long, very pornographic scenes.
They just go on and on. They're interminable. And apparently the actress who played Lisa, did one scene with this guy, which would be traumatic enough, and then said she wouldn't do it again. So when they have two different sex scenes in this film that are the same,
they're
the same scene, but they just use bits
They cut
of
it.
that when they cut it.
Oh my
so
god! Can you imagine how long it was?
The
That
original
was
one, it must have been...
one of those scenes is long enough, but that's actually part of a
it's just
longer scene that they cut in two. I can't imagine how long it must have been.
And
It's been a whole day's filming on
the sight of his bare ass is quite something as well. Not something I really want to see.
It's amazing. It's beautiful, really.
The whole film.
It's the most. If you ever want to feel uncomfortable for 10 minutes,
I don't know how long it goes on for.
it goes on for a very long time.
Too long, much too long.
I believe I looked at the timestamp, and within 24 minutes, there have been about 50% of that is sex scenes, roughly. It's mind-boggling, and this comes down to my theory. I think originally this was a porn film that became a movie, or at least Tommy, through kind of miscommunication, maybe, as I said, English is his first language.
I really think he had a thing for the actress who played
Maybe,
Lisa,
yeah,
and really just inserted lots of random sex scenes just so that he could.
Yeah, and I think the other actors thought they were filming porn, and they're just like in between it. They were just in between all the sex. They were just like, well, this is a long build-up, isn't it?
Yeah, is anything gonna happen here? Or?
An hour and a half long porno. Wow. Oh boy. But yeah, enough about that. So, it's one of those things where you don't even know where to begin, really.
Yes.
I guess the dialogue is just it's poetry, really.
Well, it's one way of describing it. It's the thing with the dialogue in the room is that often there are bits where it doesn't seem particularly related to the scene. There's one scene where he is very angry because his fiancée has accused him of hitting her. But he's very angry, as you would be had you have not actually hit someone. But then suddenly his friend appears and he just goes, "Oh, hi, Mark.
I did not hit her.
I did not do that.
Oh, hi,
this
Mark.
is bullshit. I did not do that." And then...
oh my god. Yeah, no, seriously.
That's a fantastic scene.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The supporting cast is nothing spectacular, but Tommy Wiseau takes it to the next level.
I think if I was to draw parallels with another film that's actually been reviewed on movie night, it appears to be it's a bit like David Brent, Life on the Road.
Right.
And the reason for this is that this guy Tommy Wiseau, in the same way that David Brent created the band. Tommy Wiseau created the film and starred in it himself, but because he's paying for it all, none of the other the other actors aren't that bad.
No,
but it's almost like because he's in there, because he pays for it all and sorts it all out, they have to allow him to be in it.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be the same without him. If they had just a sort of terrible actor in the main part, I think it would just be a bad film. But he makes it. Yeah. He makes it stand out. He makes it unique.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if the actors are anything special, but I think the material they have to work with is not the best. Let's be honest.
No, it's not.
I don't know, like.
I looked on the other actors thing on IMDb, and they have not really been in anything else since this.
Well, I mean, look at their portfolio.
Before or after this, they were in nothing else.
Poor guys. Wow, Tommy ruined their careers.
He did.
Oh boy. Yeah. What else is there? Jeez.
So, well, if I was to choose some of my favourite sequences in this film, which is pretty difficult considering the entire film is just fantastic. I think the coffee shop scene is worth checking out. The scene in which she discusses with her mother, as she mentions, she mentions that she has breast cancer, which then doesn't come up in the entire rest of the film.
I believe it went, "I have breast cancer, Mom, don't worry about it."
I have breast cancer. No, don't worry about it.
I guess she's supposed to be a sociopath, but still.
Yeah, she's an odd character.
She's a really weird. I mean, I don't know if like Tommy Wiseau's like sexist or something.
All the female characters are just incredibly.
Like, especially Lisa. I have to. She's just like a complete sociopath for no reason.
She's
very
like, confusing.
I just want to do what I want, and she literally she sleeps with his best friend.
And she keeps making it incredibly obvious.
Yeah, exactly. And like Mark just goes along with it. Yeah, to be fair, Mark is just as bad, really.
There's a fantastic scene where they play football in tuxedos.
Oh yeah, before his
and
wedding.
he shaves for some reason. And there's like he comes in because he has a beard and then he shaves and then the camera zooms in on him for no reason.
There's so many moments like that. There's just like weird scenes that don't mean anything, and like if they took them out, they would just.
Yeah, no, apparently that
make any
scene with the
difference.
tuxedos, he insisted that they did that. And then didn't explain to them why it was significant, but he insisted they did that, and he insisted they spent loads of money filming them rather than like scenes of importance. Because he at one point in the film he has a friend who's like a psychiatrist.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But then the actor who played him couldn't do the end of the film, and in like the closing scenes he has quite a significant part. So you just got a random other guy who is never named.
Yeah.
And he's never
Oh my
introduced,
God.
but he just says the few lines.
So basically, as in the tradition of bad movies, characters just get introduced like throughout the whole thing. Like 45 minutes in, there's a new character that doesn't mean anything, and they, it's like, oh my God, yeah. And this psychiatrist guy gets introduced as this like weird friend. He like consoles Johnny, I guess, and then towards the end, that was what made me really confused. Like there was this random guy that comes in and finds out that Lisa is sleeping with Mark, and like. He's just some random guy, and he's just like, what is Johnny gonna do? He's like, what? Who are you? Oh, it's the
fantastic.
best. Oh, there's so many moments like that. They were just like, what? And they must have been just because of how shoddily it was put together, like just not miscommunication and stuff like that.
I think the title's an interesting thing to consider as well, because
what
it's
does that
not
mean?
apparently he originally intended it to all be filmed in the confines of one room.
How would that work?
Well,
I guess if you cut out most of the scenes that are irrelevant, like most of them take place outside.
Because there's a lot of it is either on the roof bit, like Denny's random scene with the drug dealer guy. Also another random scene.
Yeah, that doesn't.
But everything's
get
either there or in his apartment. So
doesn't get brought up ever again. The drug scene.
Yeah.
Oh God, bloody hell. But yeah,
it's quite something.
it is very much.
If you want an hour and 40 minutes worth of just.
Yeah, I mean.
He's hilarious. I think it's one of those films that is so bad that it's good.
And it's funny, like there are some parts that almost seem like a real movie, but then it's just like either Johnny comes in and then it ruins it, or like there's some weird camera angle or some weird new character or something weird happens.
Crazy, yeah.
It's like basically a student film, I guess. So is it fair to criticize it if it's so like ineptly made? I don't know. It's like one of those things you have to consider.
It is. I think it's just it's sort of got cult status in terms of it's like people just love it, even though it's just terrible.
I will say that it started to bore on me a little, quite a lot towards the end. It went on. I know you watched it.
You could probably cut it out.
Yeah.
You could probably cut quite significant
I know you
parts
watched
out
it in
of
2 sittings.
Yes.
I watched it in 1. And
I
towards
couldn't
the
go
end,
for 2
I know.
seconds,
And towards the end, it was going a bit like, all right, I just want it to end now.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh god, it's ironic that we're doing a podcast about this, but it is very hard to put into words what this film is.
It is. If you want to watch it, I would recommend it.
I would definitely.
It's very funny. I'd give it 5 stars for a fantastic, terrible film.
5 stars for pure entertainment.
Yes, exactly. And I think it is. It's probably better than. Because some terrible films, a film like Birdemic, for example, would fall under the category of just being incredibly boring.
Oh yeah.
But this isn't boring.
Happens.
It's just well, it is at parts, but it's not.
Yeah, exactly. It's just pure.
It's watchable.
It's one of those things that is just so magical, so unlike anything you've ever seen. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's just entertaining.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is what I guess will come from this.
I think that would be the conclusion you can draw.
I mean,
watch it if you want to.
No,
but be warned.
If you're ever, I suppose it's one of those things as well. If you're ever thinking about going into filmmaking, this is the film that you should watch.
Yes, you should watch.
As well as watching like
don't do that. Yeah.
As well as watching like really good films to take inspiration from, you should watch films like this and know
and
what not to do.
Right. I won't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought we'd been reviewing a lot of films that we liked, or at least sort of thought were decent.
Yes.
So I think it's time we review a few things that are just irretrievable, unsalvageable.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any closing thoughts, Albert?
No, not really. Just this is a fantastic film.
This movie has erased my mind.
Yes.
So thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!